Hey guys, my name's Socksmith. Welcome to another version of My Life Stories. This is episode something of something, and today I shall be talking about my worst teachers I've ever had. Sorry in advance if this video is quite accelerated, more than normal, because I've got a lot of assignments assigned to me by one of the bad teachers I'm going to talk about later on in this video. Let's get started. Alright, so the first teacher I'll be talking about I'll call Mr. B for now. He was my year 9 math teacher, and he was also my year 12 IT teacher. Now, if anyone was watching this video and knew me back at that time, you'll know I complained a lot about this guy. Now, at the start of year 9, we did like this NAP plan thing, like a lot of us do, which tells us what level of knowledge we normally are at the start of the year compared to what we'll be at the end of the year to see how successful we were. So at the start of the year, my knowledge was about year 9 level. So as soon as I finished year 8, I was at a mid-year 9 level. However, at the end of the year, I was also at the mid-year 9 level, which means I gained no knowledge whatsoever from being in this guy's class. And the worst part about it was I got assigned him to be my math teacher in year 12 and my coding teacher. And my parents did not like the thought of me getting the same teacher to do the same thing in year 12 as I did in year 9. So I immediately swapped classes and only had him for one class then. Now the reason I didn't like him so much was because he kept on focusing on all of the practical components, like all the coding we had to do for it normally, when the actual exam was all theoretical. So we weren't prepared for it at all. Whatsoever in the slightest. But hey, I guess I knew how to do coding. So I thought this was the worst teacher I possibly could have ever had. But then it changed as soon as I started university. Now, people in my university do watch this channel, this video probably, because I'll show it to them anyway. Now this guy I shall call, to be honest, I've kind of forgotten his name because we had him at the start of the first year. So I'll just call him Mr. Unknown. Now Mr. Unknown, we had him for a few classes, and he would mainly teach us for like doing stuff on Excel sheets and spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff, and it was a bore. We could not survive through that whole thing. We'd have a 2-hour class and we'd be asleep halfway through it. But we thought it was so boring because we had to do our own work, as in like the teacher wouldn't help us with anything. He'd give us the work and then we'd just have to do it ourselves, and then we'd have to help each other out how to do it and all those kinds of stuff. But we thought he was one of the worst teachers because he would not help us in the slightest, and then we'd come to assignments and we'd feel like we knew nothing about it, and it was terrible. But then we moved on to the next semester. Now the next semester had this teacher I shall call Miss D. Now Miss D, she was an interesting one to say the least. For starters, let me imagine this scenario. For instance, it's the start of the day. It's about 8:30 in the morning because he had to get there early for class, and there's most people there, but maybe there's 1 or 2 people that haven't arrived. All right. Actually, you don't even need to picture this. I'll make it for you. Here we go. So you're sitting in the class, you're waiting for the teacher to arrive. And eventually she arrives. She walks in like this. Hey guys. Hey. Is everyone here yet? Oh, we're only missing 1 or 2 people. Alright, well, we'll wait 10 more minutes. Hold on, let me just go get another cup of coffee. I'll be back in a moment. And that was how she acted around everything. It was terrible. She had zero motivation. I'd never seen such a teacher with such negative motivation. Like we would teach ourselves how to do it. So at one point, get this, we were trying to learn something about all these circuits and stuff, about a bunch of gates is what we called it. Now, she was supposed to be the one teaching us how to do it. But she wasn't doing a good job at all. Like, at one point, we had to ask her if she could write on the board what we had to do, and like what everything was, and how it all made sense and stuff. But she refused to do it. she refused to do her job. So what happened was the few of us that understood what she was trying to say now and then every 5 minutes ended up becoming the teacher for that class. In a sense, so say if everyone didn't get what AND gate was for some reason, even though that's the easiest gate possible. I'm just using this as an explanation. So if no one got what an AND gate was, then people would have to come up to the board, would have to walk up to the board when she's not in class. We'd have to walk up to the board, and we'd have to write down on the board what an AND gate was for everyone else in the rest of the class. And then we'd walk down, sit down, and then as soon as she got back, she'd come up, she'd see what we'd done on the board, and she'd just erase it. She didn't give a crap about what the hell we'd just done, or how we'd helped the class. It was miserable. We were supposed to have her this semester, but then we ended up getting a different teacher, and you do not know how many sighs of relief there was from the rest of the class when we found out we didn't have to have her as our teacher for that class. It was immense. You could feel the gust of wind that was coming from our sides like a tornado. It was just that strong. It was ridiculous. But once again, we thought that this was the worst teacher that we could have gotten. But we were wrong. Now this teacher, I'm gonna call, I could easily call him by his regular name, but I just have that much of a hatred for him. I'm not even gonna give him his real name. He's just gonna be Mr. N. Alright? Mr. N. Now, first of all, let me just say, the reason that this video is so speedy is because I have so many assignments that I have to do in such a short amount of time with such little knowledge, and that's because of this guy. He is the reason why I am failing currently. Now, Mr. N, he has his own special way of teaching us. So, let me just say, I couldn't really say special. Let's just say he doesn't have a way of teaching us. So how he does supposedly quote-unquote teach us is he sits us down, he gets the assignments and stuff up, but the assignments are 700, 800,000 words long, but he doesn't go through it. He just puts it up for us to find, and then moves on 5 seconds later. Then he goes to some other assignment that we have never heard of before, and he starts talking really in depth about it. And we're like, alright, we start to know everything about this. And then he says, we don't need to know this. And then we're like, wait, but why are we learning this if we don't need to know this? He's like, oh, well, it's just background knowledge. And I'm like, well, we could have just spent the last 2 hours or something actually doing an assignment. It was just ridiculous. And the worst part happens when we need help or we don't understand something. So what happens is we, in the middle of the class, this is online learning, by the way, so this might be a bit of not his average cup of tea kind of thing. So it's understandable at times, but it's gotten to the point where it's not understandable anymore. So what would happen is, say he's going through this massive assignment, and we say, alright, we don't understand this point. Can you please explain this point to us? He'll think for a second, and he's like, alright, can you give me just 5 more minutes, and then we'll come back to that point right there. Let's get everyone ahead. And the person who was asking is like, alright, he's going to come back in 5 minutes, and then he's going to get to me. About 10-15 minutes later, he's continuing on with the assignment, as regular, and then the person asks the same question again. He's like, oh, yep, no, I'm getting there. Just give me a moment, alright? But then it gets to the end of the class, and he still hasn't answered the question. So what do? Well, the rest of my class just decides, oh, well, he didn't get any help from the teacher, so let's just help this guy. And so the rest of the class helps the guy that needed help in the first place. But then we've used all our time trying to help the guy that needed help, and we haven't been able to do our own assignments. And that's when we've got 15, 16, 17 assignments due by next week. So, yeah, there's a lot of assignments that has to be done without his help or anything. Now, the reason I've said, I've talked about all these bad teachers instead of my good teachers, is because I've got a fair few good teachers, and I probably will make a video about all my good teachers just as a feel-good video. But the only reason I've done bad teachers this time is because, let's be honest, bad teachers are much better content. If you did enjoy, please hit that like and that subscribe button to stay up to date with my content. I try to upload as much as possible, but it's a bit hard with all these assignments coming up, especially coming up towards the end of the year. But once I finish uni for this year, then trust me, I'll be much more onto doing all these videos up and ready for you. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. See ya!